A strange and wonderful feeling of clarity comes when you realize that the road ahead is much shorter than the one behind you. I am 84 years old. This is the age when time ceases to be sand in an hourglass and turns into thick, golden honey. It flows slowly, and you can finally taste it. I sit in my favorite chair by the window in my old house on the Royal Mile. From the window, I can see Edinburgh Castle, which has stood on this rock for centuries, immovable and majestic, reminding me that human vanity is but a shadow of clouds on its walls. In youth, the world seems deafening. You are surrounded by a cacophony of expectations. Parents, teachers, bosses, social media, all shouting about what you should do, who you should be, and how you should look. You are told that your value is directly dependent on your productivity, the shine of your car, and how high you have climbed the career ladder. During the day, we tirelessly hone our social image, choosing the right words and ties, and at night we lie awake, tormented by things that are completely invisible on a universal scale. I was Michael Thornton, a man who believed that if he stopped for even a minute, the world would collapse. I chased the horizon, not realizing that it would always be the same distance away. But today, at 84, the fog is finally lifting. I see the world as it really is, not as I was taught to see it in law school or on boards of directors. Most of what you are worried about right now, bills to pay, a colleague's opinion of your report, the fear of looking foolish, will mean absolutely nothing to you on your last day. Not just a little less, but zero. If I could give you one gift, it would be the ability to stop feeding these fears with your heart right now, without waiting until you're 80 to realize how empty they are. The first thing you'll stop worrying about at 84 is the judgment of people who never knew your heart. We waste a tremendous amount of life energy trying to please some vague, faceless crowd. We worry about what our neighbors will think of our new lawn, what our old classmates will say about our job, or, even more absurdly, what strangers will write under our post on the internet. I spent decades living in an invisible prison whose walls were built from other people's expectations. I chose suits that matched my status. I held back my laughter to appear serious. I suppressed my true desires so as not to seem strange. The gods in this prison were people just as scared, insecure, and lost as I was, only they were better at hiding it. When you're 84, this theater empties out. Most of those whose gaze I feared so much are gone, and those who remain are too busy fighting their illnesses and regrets to think about my successes or failures. You realize that you spent the best years of your life rehearsing a role for an audience that never even bought a ticket to your show. On your last day, you won't cry about not being popular enough. You won't care if people thought you were cool or influential. You'll only care about the faces of those few people who saw you for who you really are, in moments of weakness, tears, and defeat, and still didn't let go of your hand. Stop living for the applause of the crowd. That hall you're trying so hard to impress is actually empty. The only voice that matters is the whisper of your conscience in the silence of the Edinburgh night. We humans have this strange, almost painful obsession with completion. We live under the illusion that life is a project that must be brought to perfection. Building the perfect house, sculpting the perfect body in the gym, creating a picture gallery out of our family and career. It's as if we are standing on a platform waiting for that magic train to arrive, after which we will finally be allowed to start enjoying life. We tell ourselves, when I have this amount in my account, when my children finish university, when I buy that mansion in the suburbs, then I will breathe a sigh of relief and be happy. At 84, I look at these thoughts with a sad smile. Edinburgh, a city that has stood on stones for 1,000 years, has taught me a great truth. Look at Edinburgh Castle. Its walls are not perfectly smooth. They are scarred by hailstorms, darkened by the salty sea wind, and covered with moss. But it is precisely these flaws that make it majestic. Life is never finished or perfect. It is always full of disorder. There will always be a leak in the roof. There will always be a mistake in the past that cannot be corrected. or an annoying wrinkle in the mirror that no cream can smooth out. For 40 years, I chased the ghost of perfection. I wanted my tie to be tied perfectly, my arguments in court to be irrefutable, my house to look like something out of the pages of Architectural Digest. But in the face of eternity, you stop caring about polishing the surface. You begin to truly love the cracks in your old favorite cup, because they remind you of thousands of morning conversations over coffee. You realize that the perfect version of your life you've been striving for is just a sterile, cold museum where you can't touch anything with your hands. Real life, messy, full of scattered toys, spilled wine, and loud arguments, is the only real home. Stop waiting for perfection to allow yourself to be happy. Perfection is the lot of statues in museums, but life is made for us, the living and imperfect. I spent 40 years of my life chasing titles and positions. I wanted to be a senior partner, chairman of the board, man of the year, according to the local newspaper. I sincerely believed that these words, engraved on my door plaque or printed on my expensive business card, were the true measure of my soul. I spent thousands of hours in meaningless meetings, worrying about which office I sat in and how long my desk should be according to my status. I fought an invisible war to have my name at the top of the guest list for banquets. But here is the harsh truth that I have only now realized, at the age of 84. When you approach the final threshold, your career becomes a tiny footnote in small print on the last page. No one reads your resume at your funeral. No one cares how many deals you closed in 1995 or how masterfully you drafted that contract. Your professional achievements, however grandiose they may seem today, carry absolutely no weight in the economy of the soul. At the end of the road, you will not be concerned with the work itself, but with how you treated the people with whom you shared that journey. Were you honest when big money was at stake? Did you support a junior colleague when they made a mistake and were trembling with fear? Did you retain your humanity in a world where only efficiency is valued? You will stop caring about victories at any cost and begin to cherish the honesty that you have managed to preserve through years of temptation. Don't change your character for a temporary position. Remember, your name will be replaced in the corporate directory the very next morning after you leave. Your position is a suit you have rented. Do not let it become part of your skin. We carry the memory of our failures like a heavy, rusty chain that digs deeper into our skin with each passing year. We are strange creatures. We can do 100 good deeds, but we will fall asleep replaying in our minds that awkward phrase we said 10 years ago at an important reception, or that failed business project that left us with empty pockets and a sense of shame. We allow our past mistakes to dictate our current worth, as if we were damaged goods forever marked as defective. For decades, I carried around the ghost of a court case I lost in my youth. I remembered the look on my client's face, the cold sweat on my back, and how I felt my career was over. I allowed that memory to rob me of my confidence even after I had become successful. But at 84, sitting in the quiet of my home, I look back on my most bitter defeats and I just laugh. A quiet, rattling laugh of an old man. These were not disasters. They were lessons learned at a high price, the price of a life lived honestly and to the fullest. In the face of eternity, you realize something amazing. No one but you remembers your moments of shame. Everyone else, your neighbors, colleagues, enemies, are too busy chewing over their own failures in horror. We are all actors who are afraid of forgetting our lines, not realizing that the audience in the hall is busy rehearsing their own roles. I stopped beating myself up for my mistakes because I finally realized that they were what made me wise. Without those falls, I would have been as flat as a sheet of paper. Forgive your younger self for not knowing then what you know now. You couldn't have done anything else with the knowledge you had. Let go of those chains. They have already served their purpose. They taught you to walk, and now they just prevent you from flying. We torment ourselves with worries about the future because we firmly believe in one of humanity's greatest illusions, the illusion of control. We think that if we make a detailed enough plan, If we save enough money in the bank, if we anticipate every risk and worry enough, we can prevent pain and guarantee our safety. We build our lives like fortresses, surrounding them with moats of insurance and fences of savings, afraid of any breeze of change. But at 84, watching the capricious Scottish wind chase clouds across Holyrood Park, I realized that the future is a wild, untamed horse. It goes where it wants and gallops at its own pace. The most important, most tectonic events in my life, both those that brought me indescribable happiness and those that broke my heart, were completely, totally unexpected. They weren't written in my diaries. They burst into my life without knocking, turning everything upside down. Before death, you finally stop this exhausting struggle for certainty. You exchange the need to know everything for pure, childlike curiosity. You realize that the only thing you ever truly possessed is this particular breath. This ray of sunlight falling on the carpet. This taste of an apple. Everything else is just vague sketches on water. The future is a ghost that feeds on your today. Promises you security tomorrow in exchange for your life now. Stop making that deal. Unclench the fists with which you try to hold on to tomorrow. Let the wild horse run wherever it wants, and just enjoy the ride in this very moment. We spend the first half of our lives accumulating things, and the second half realizing with horror that these things now own us. At 40, I was proud of my possessions. I remember lying awake all night when someone left a tiny scratch on the door of my new Jaguar. I remember being seriously upset about a stain on an expensive Persian rug, as if it were a wound on my own body. I chased after the latest phone models, watches with gold straps, and suits from tailors whose names were supposed to emphasize my importance. I surrounded myself with things like a fortress wall, hoping they would protect me from the feeling of my own mortality. But now, at 84, sitting among boxes of things I haven't had time to give away yet, I realize that all this wealth becomes a burden over time. When your steps become heavier, you begin to hate the extra objects you can trip over. You begin to understand that no brand, no antique vase, and no bank stock will add a single minute to your life. Before the final threshold, your possessions become transparent. You will stop caring about models, prices, and exclusivity. The only thing that matters is the experience these things have given you. The car was valuable not because of the leather in the interior, but because I drove my wife to the sea in it. The house was important not because of the height of the ceilings, but because there was always room for friends and children's laughter in it. If a thing does not serve love, if it does not help you embrace another person, it is just junk that steals your space and your time. Simplify your life right now. Don't wait until your closets are overflowing with dust. Throw away everything you don't need. Give away what you don't use. Free your hands so that there is room in them for what really matters in the economy of the soul, for the hands of your loved ones. I am 84 years old. My world has physically shrunk to the size of this room and a few blocks of the old town. My walks in Edinburgh have become shorter, and my stair climbing slower. But here's the secret I've only just discovered. The smaller my outer world becomes, the deeper and more boundless my inner world becomes. I stopped caring about the noise of the crowd, titles, illusory perfection, and tomorrow. And you know what happened? For the first time in my life, I am truly crystal clear happy. I finally felt that great lightness that poets write about. It's the feeling you get when you take off the heavy, stone-filled backpack you've been carrying for 7 decades. I no longer play roles. I don't need to prove anything to this city or this life. I just am. I am Michael Thornton, an old man who loves the taste of bergamot tea and the sound of rain drumming on the windowsill. Don't wait until you're 84 to throw off that burden. Don't wait until the end to realize that life is not a project, but a gift. Start today. Every time you feel anxiety boiling up in your chest because of work, politics, or a broken car, ask yourself, will I be worrying about this on my last evening, watching the sunset over Edinburgh? If the answer is no, then for heaven's sake, stop giving it your heart right now. Save your heart for love. Save it for laughter. Save it for the quiet, unassuming beauty that surrounds you in this very moment. Thank you for listening. My fog has lifted, and I can see the path. I hope it becomes clearer for you, too. If this story resonated with you or helped you let go of something heavy today, please subscribe to this channel. This will help my message reach those who are currently drowning in noise and anxiety. Like this video so that the algorithms show it to people who vitally need to simplify their souls and remember what is important today. And be sure to write in the comments, what have you decided to stop worrying about today? Let's create a space of freedom from unnecessary burdens together. Share this video with your friends and loved ones. Perhaps these are the very words that will save someone's evening or someone's life from a meaningless race. May God bless you on your journey. And remember, go through life lightly.